Hey, everybody. Just got back from my daughter's step up. That's what they call somewhat of a graduation around here, going from one grade to the next. Anyway, I'm not coming on here to tell you I'm Father of the Year. You already know that. I was just out of the chair today, and towards the end of what would have been in my show, some news came across that I wanted to address. Listen, everybody knows my intense dislike for the owner of the New York Knickerbockers. That's not in dispute. As a matter of fact, I swore off the Knicks after Charles Oakley got dragged out of Madison Square Garden, one of my favorite players of all time. And the owner of the Knicks just sat there from his seat and watched as his security dragged him out of Madison Square Garden. And I said I wasn't going to come back. I was done with the Knicks. And then one person, pulled me back in. His name is Jalen Brunson. Just the way that he plays, the way that he carries himself, the way that he leads, the way that he has made the most of an opportunity, the way that the Knicks believed in him to acquire him and then gave him the reins, and then he took the reins, and we all know what's happened. And so in Jalen, we trust. Knicks fans trust, and in Jalen, you trust. That's basically it, right? Well, we found the one person who doesn't trust Jalen, because just listen to what Jalen had to say after, getting eliminated by the Indiana Pacers. And the last question he was asked at his press conference was about Tom Thibodeau's future with the Knicks. And this was his response.
When you talk about the confidence, obviously, I feel like nobody takes more criticism than Tom. And this team obviously has turned around during his tenure. Do you kind of feel that going forward, he's the same guy to lift you guys the rest of the way, that next level?
Is that a real question right now? You just asked me if I believe that if he's the right guy. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Come on.
So it's clear that Brunson thought the idea of Thibodeau not being back with the Knicks was absurd. And, it's very out of character for him to kind of lose patience with the media as he did at the end of his press conference. So clearly he didn't want Thibodeau to be touched. Clearly, Thibodeau's a guy who had his dad as an assistant. Clearly, he's a guy who meshes well with Tom Thibodeau, one would think, especially since Tom Thibodeau just finished a tenure where he took the Knicks to the playoffs in 4 out of 5 years and back-to-back 50 win seasons for the first time in forever, and the first trip to the conference finals in 25 years. So it's been a while, right? And so you wouldn't touch Tom Thibodeau. Not if you're James Dolan. Whatever. Listen, I know head coaches in the NBA are quite fungible. You change them in, you change them out. I know 2 teams actually fired their coaches late in the regular season and went into the playoffs with interim head coaches. So I know that. And one of those teams that did that, Denver, Michael Malone could be somebody that the Knicks have their eye on, or James Dolan does, because from everything that I was hearing out of New York, nobody was interested in firing Tom Thibodeau. Nobody, except apparently James Dolan. So congrats, Knicks fans. Back to a little bit of square one. Obviously, this roster is in much better shape. Obviously, the people who are just beneath James Dolan know what the hell they're doing. So I'm wondering if they're going to, obviously they'll carry the water here. They'll say this was a plan, or this was something that came up in a meeting and they wish him well and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure that's coming if it already isn't already out there. But so much for trusting Jalen Brunson, huh? What the hell? James Dolan strikes again.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.